Hey guys, Thunderstruck MTV here. Man, what a difference a month makes in my life and one video makes for you guys. So let's go ahead and get into it. This video, you saw the title, this is going to be my thoughts, my opinions on a 2025 Rockshox Pike Ultimate Charger 3.1. Before we get there, a couple of things. Number one, I was provided an opportunity to purchase this Pike with my own money, but at a steep discount with no strings attached. The only obligation was I couldn't talk about where the opportunity came from, anything about it. Other than that, that is it. I'm not obligated to say anything about the fork, good, bad, or even make a video about it. It's my fork, my money. Everything I'm about to tell you is my personal opinion. So that's first and foremost. Second, real quick, because this is going to be a longer video, guys. I don't know what's going to be up to, but it's going to be a longer video. I have a lot of thoughts on this. In about 2 minutes, I'm just going to blurt out a bold statement. And to those of you that can't wait to go to the next TikTok, Booktagram to watch a monkey hold the cat, riding the turtle, you guys can get that and move on about your way. So yeah, we might as well get into this. Let's get going. So about me, I am 56 years old. I ride in the SoCal high desert. I ride nothing but a hardtail. My rides are good hard mountain biking. I don't ride like I'm in a pink bike edit. I do have some jumps. I got a road gap. I got some jumps here and there. Good hard mountain biking in the SoCal high desert. What I look for in a fork, 3 things. Number 1 is off the top sensitivity, magic carpet ride. I'm looking for that plushness at the grip. I'm looking for that. That's priority 1. Priority 2, call it damper control, right? I'm looking for support. I'm looking for compression support on the damper. I'm looking for good rebound control as well. And then number 3, which is quite a bit a ways down from 1 and 2, and that would be bottom out resistance, chassis rigidity, things like that on the fork. So that's my responsibility to get to you. Your responsibility now is to decide if what I say from here on out relates to you and how you ride and what you look for in a fork in any way, shape, or form. So, are we ready to get into this? Let's go ahead and get into it. So what's the bold statement I'm about to say? She's a bold one. 2025 Rockshox Pike Ultimate ButterCups Charger 3.1. Best fork I have ever installed on a bicycle. Been riding since 1987. I've had a lot of forks. A lot of good forks. I mean, you're looking at one right here, right? You're looking at 2025 Fox 34 Factory Grip X. You're looking at a Pike Ultimate Charger 3.0. We'll get back to that turd here in a little bit. Ultimate 2.1s. I've had some good forks, guys. This is the best fork I've ever installed. So if that's what you came to hear, thanks for stopping by. We'll see you on the next one. Let's get into weeds why I would say something that's pretty bold to come out and say. So let's go ahead and get into it. So when this fork came in, I usually, since 2019 or 2020, every fork that comes into this garage, I open it up out of the box, I throw it in my stand, I drop the lowers, I drop the air spring, I clean everything, re-grease it, put the proper fluids in because quality control sucks, Fox and Rockshox. I did not do it on this one. I did not do it on the 34 either. And I did not do it on this one as well. Okay, so cut the stir tube, star nut, crown race, threw on the bike, off I went. I'm 210 pounds, but I use 215 on the Trailhead app to give me my starting weight. And, figure what, 5 pounds helmet and all that good stuff and my water and all that. So 215 is what I put. That spit out 98 PSI and the rebound was supposed to be from 8 from full closed. That's what I did. So 98 PSI, 8 from full closed. There are no tokens in the positive air spring. I had no tokens installed and there probably won't be any tokens installed. The 98 PSI gave me 29 millimeters of sag, which is 22%. Rockshox does not talk about compression settings at all. So here we go. This is super important when I talk about clicks from here on out. So the middle settings, when you first get it, Rockshox likes to think of those as 0, and then they will say like -1, +1. That's just too confusing for how I'm going to relate to you. So from here on out, there are 5 hash marks on high-speed compression, the bottom dial, and there are 15 hash marks on the top knob, which is low speed. So from here on out, I consider 1 to be fully open, and I consider 5 on high speed to be fully closed, and 15 on low speed to be fully closed, okay? So from here on out, that's what we're gonna talk about this. So I went out for my first ride, I put in the 98 PSI, I put in the 8 clicks of rebound from full closed, and I went ahead with the dials in the middle position, which would be high speed at 3 and a low speed at 8 clicks. Went out within that first half of that first ride. The entire ride is about 17 miles. Within about the first half of that first ride, I knew right away that this fork was absolutely unbelievable. The amount of support that I had while retaining the magic carpet ride feel with not a hint of harshness was just unlike anything that I had felt, including the 34 down here. I could spend, this video could be an hour long, and I keep going back and forth between the 34 and then that freaking 3.0 Pike over there, but we won't do that. We'll touch more on that here at the end of the video, but I'm just gonna try to stay focused on what I found on this 2025 Pike 3.1. So it was super supple off the top, but the level of support that I had was fantastic. We got to a road gap jump that I typically do, and I went ahead and did it. I overjumped it by probably a bike length, something like that, and I slapped the front end down pretty hard. And I thought, oh, that was a little bit hard. So I started thinking, what would that do if I added 1 click of high-speed compression? I never session things, ever. This time I did, pedaled back up a couple hundred feet to the top. I added 1 click of high-speed compression to go 4 out of 5. So as you look down that bottom dial, I am on 4 right now. So I added 1 click of high-speed compression, and I kept low-speed compression in the middle. Went ahead, did the jump again, and as I approached the jump down the, oh, not the ramp, but as I approached down the approach, it's pretty rough. I knew it was already feeling better before I even got to the lip. Did the lip, I jumped it almost the identical way again, overjumped it a second time, slapped down. What a difference in touchdown feel. And I knew that 1 click did everything I was looking for with 1 click. I was surprised at just the difference in 1 click. On the 3.0 over there, I could twist any of those dials on top 2 or 3 times, and we'll get back to that in a minute. So I was really surprised with what I felt with the 1 click of high-speed compression. But then I was like, all right, well, I ruined the rest of it. So I know how it had been riding for the last hour before that. So I continued on my ride, and sure enough, it was perfect on every square edge, quick hit. If it fell into a hole real quick, any quick impact, it just felt really nice with a lot of damping, a ton of damping, more damping than I've ever experienced in any fork, which is ironic. We'll get to that in a second. More damping I ever experienced. Then I thought to myself, you know what? It feels like on some of my slower off-camber slippery turns, it feels like my front tire is sort of on top of the planet and the earth and not digging in and being driven into the earth. So I kind of thought, I wonder if removing 1 click of low speed compression, I wonder what that would do, I wonder if that helped. So I went from, on low speed compression, from that center setting of 8, I backed it off to 7. Again, what a dramatic difference. And what was cool about it was I got the immediate confirmation that that's what I was looking for. Was I had more traction, a sensation of more traction, a sensation of even a little bit more supple off the top, but I still had plenty of support. Rode that for, I don't know, a couple of miles, and then, you know, your brain starts working, and I start thinking, well, if 7 was good, is 6 better? So you see where this is going. So I went ahead and stopped and backed it off another click, low speed compression to 6, where you see it is now, to where 6, and sure enough, that same sensation how I got between 8 and 7, same thing between 7 and 6. And that felt absolutely perfect. So I rode that for, again, a couple of miles, but you can probably see where we're going on that as well. And I thought, well, if 6 is, you know, the better, then 5 has got to be bestest, right? Went to 5 on low speed, and that probably took me 20 seconds of trail to realize, nope, that was now too little of a good thing. I lost the support and the damper I was looking for, and I just went too far. So in that, I don't know, 3 miles, I was able to bracket out of low speed compression that 8 was too much of a good thing and 5 was too little of a good thing, and that left me with 6 and 7. And again, what a revelation that I'm literally now down to 1 click between low speed, and guys, it's a tangible difference. You're not just thinking in your head it's a placebo effect or whatever. You can feel the difference in this. And so I came back, I finished that ride out in 6 on 6. I made no other changes. The next ride though, I went back out. I added 1 click of low speed back to 7. Went out for an entire ride, never touched it. The next ride, ride 3, I went back out in 6, and it has been in 6 ever since. So again, I'm at 4 clicks on high speed compression, and I am now at 6 clicks on low speed compression. The ironic thing I talked about was, if you kind of watch any of Rockshox stuff when they released this damper, they talked about how it's more free flowing, it's more open, a lighter tune, this, that, and the other. And I find it so ironic because, again, I am a 210-pound dude, and I'm able to add more compression damping in on both circuits, high and low, than I've ever been able to add before to any of my memory that I've ever. And yet I do not have any hint or a spike of harshness at all. And that to me is kind of ironic. So again, the changes on this Pike are the Charger 3.1 damper. This is what's called the C2 air spring, and they did something on the negative air chamber. I haven't seen the spring yet, but I think they hollowed out the bottom of the piston head, and they opened up, which made a larger negative chamber, which is going to be a little more supple off the top and a little better mid-stroke support. And they also are kind of coy on what they did with the bushings. And what I take it as is Rockshox has better quality control and are sending these forks out the door with much tighter tolerances in the bushings, and they're not coming out either totally sloppy, or in the case of this freaking 3.0 turd over here, probably like a slip bit of a plumbing pipe. It's so stiff in there. So again, I don't know exactly what Rockshox did with the bushings, but there you go. This is strictly my guess, and the difference between this 3.1 and that 3.0 over there, this is strictly a guess. I think it's 60% damper, 40% spring, and 10% bushings. I think all of those equal up into a fork that is incredibly supple off the top, has more compression support than I could imagine. I haven't even, have I gone to 5? No, Thunderstruck, have you gone all the way to 5 on high speed? I won't, and I can't see it getting any better. There's no reason for me to even try that click on there. If I went to 5, would it add harshness? I don't know. I'm just not willing to even look outside because I'm so happy with where it is here. Again, I'm not torn between 6 and 7 on low speed. I'm pretty well set at 6, but it's just nice to know that literally the only thing I have to worry about isn't PSI. The 98 PSI for me is absolute perfect. 22% sag is great. I don't need a volume reducer in there. It's progressive enough for me and for my riding. Again, this is just, it's the fork that Rockshox should have made 2 years ago. So that to me is what it should have made. So getting back to the comparison now between the Pike and this 2025 34 Factory Grip X. Why is this off the bike and why is this not going to be put back on? At the end of the day, this is a better fork, while it's night and day difference over the Charger 3.0, and that is not even, it's more than night and day. Over here with the 34, it's a little more like I don't know what, dusk to dawn, or would that, well, that'd be the same light output. It'd be like dusk to night, right? It's a little closer. This is still very supple off the top. This has more support in the damper though. That's the thing. They're both very supple off the top, and they both would be very, very close. This has way more support in the damper without adding any harshness than I found for the 34 over here. And the Pike is just a little more rigid of a chassis. It just is. For a 210-pound dude, I just noticed it's a more rigid chassis. Yeah, it's about 100, 125 grams. I'm guessing heavier than this. I did not weigh it, but just from the online reports, I'm guessing it's about 125 grams more. I could not care less if he asked me to care less. Couldn't be done. Can you go wrong with either fork? This both 2025. You really can't. I would say this: if you're on one end of the spectrum, really light person, really light rider, I would think you would be cross shopping the 34 and like maybe the Rockshox Sid Ultimate. That would be probably what you'd be cross shopping, something like that, around the same travel. Maybe more the Pike crosses over to the 36. Those are just kind of, you know, off the top opinions. But if you're a lighter rider, maybe you go with the 34. I would think if you're 190 pounds or more, I would think you're going to notice the stiffness in the Pike. I really do, especially for me on the hardtail. Everything pivots around that rear axle, right? I have nothing to hide the fork. Everything pivots around the rear axle, gets thrown onto the front of the fork. So for me, maybe I'm a little more sensitive to it. I also prioritize the number one component on my bike. Number one would be saddle comfort for my butt, but number one would be the fork, right? After geometry, of course, and all that with the frame, no kidding. The number one component for me is the fork. And again, if that isn't the boldest statement, that been riding since 1987, a lot of good forks on bikes, a lot of bad forks on bikes. This is the best fork I have ever ridden on a bicycle. It really is. Rockshox, if anybody's listening, here's my thing is, I get it. I get you try to do updates and sometimes you swing and a miss or whatever else, but man, you should offer those of us that bought this 3.0 over here, you should offer those of us that bought this some type of a 20% off, you know, discount or something towards a new fork or whatever, because they're not even the same fork. You might as well call them different names. Those of you with the 3.0 over there, you can upgrade to this new air spring. This new air spring here is called a C2, and that's a C1. The C2, when they come available, you can bolt that in to that Charger 3.0 over there and replace the C1 spring. That will probably help. And you can also do upgrade kits. You can get a Charger 3.1 and drop it in. You can get parts to retrofit your Charger 3.0. You can do that. Rockshox, you need to help some of those people that can prove that they bought it from a manufacturer or from a retailer and have a receipt. You need to do something right, because we should not be your beta testers. But congrats on making this fork. This fork is absolutely unbelievable. It'll be staying on the bike. If you're watching this a year in advance, and if there's not another video on this fork, that means it's still freaking there. The only way that I will redo this video, or I will visit this again, maybe with a long-term update, or if something goes wrong with it, right? The damper blows up, or I have nothing but problems with it, I reserve the right to change my mind as durability rears its ugly head. But right now, guys, far and away, the best fork I've had, and will be staying on this bike. I might be selling this fork. If you're interested in this fork right here, the 34 Goldie, she's a 140 mil Grip X. Hit me up in the comments if you're watching this within a month after it goes live, the video. If it's after a month, the fork's probably gone. So anyway, there you go. It's not an ad. I don't know what else to say. I hope this helped you guys, gals, in some way, shape, or form, steer you which way, that, the other. Those of you that waited this long, thanks for watching. I appreciated hearing my rambling thoughts. 18 minutes. All right, guys. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. See ya.